Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Van Life with Steve, where today we're going to visit America's most notorious prison, Alcatraz, which is located in San Francisco Bay. So we're going to get started with a ferry ride over to the island. This is one of the locations where the Park Service kind of gets you a little bit. While there is no federal admission fee to the island, a third-party contractor that transports you to the island does charge about $45 for a ticket. This sign shows a quick overview of the island, and we'll get started walking up the hill. Alcatraz, of course, is one of the most famous prisons in the entire world and has been featured in many movies. Probably the most popular movies to feature Alcatraz would be The Birdman of Alcatraz, starring Burt Lancaster, Escape from Alcatraz, starring the legendary Clint Eastwood, and The Rock, starring Nicolas Cage and the similarly legendary Sean Connery. I would like to know, what is your favorite movie that features Alcatraz as a location in the film? Please let me know which film in the comments below. Alcatraz is a very old Spanish word for pelican, so it means Pelican Island. Some of the more infamous prisoners who were held at the island include Al Capone, of course, Mickey Cohen, who was a mobster in Las Vegas under Bugsy Siegel, Bumpy Johnson, who was the crime boss of Harlem, who preceded Frank Lucas, Robert Stroud, the Birdman of Alcatraz, although he was not able to keep birds when he was at Alcatraz, and Machine Gun Kelly, among others. You'll notice some graffiti on the water tower, and that is from when Native Americans occupied the island in the 1970s as part of a protest. Entering the main prison, you can see where the prisoners were processed, and here's a quick look at the shower room. This is where you start your tour, and it looks absolutely nothing like it does in the Rock movie by Michael Bay. From here, you're pretty much free to roam around all the open areas around the prison. Alcatraz is a good example of the camera adding 10 pounds to where it's much smaller than you would think in person. There are essentially 4 cell blocks that are 3 stories high, and it doesn't take you very long to get through this whole tour. It's basically the size of one wing of what I think a modern day prison would be. Here's a quick look at the hole, which is actually just a few cells at the end of D block, although I'm sure the men that were confined there didn't quite think of it as just a few cells. Now we'll head out to the prison yard, which again has been featured in so many movies. It definitely went through my mind a few times walking around here that these were some of the very same steps that Clint Eastwood sat on when he was filming Escape from Alcatraz. Heading back inside, the only cells that I saw that referenced specific prisoners were the cells for Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence. And here you can see where the Park Service has recreated the cells so that they look like what they did the morning after the escape attempt. Following the escape of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, there was increased scrutiny of the prison. Keeping prisoners here was about 3 times more expensive due to the remoteness and of the logistics of operating the prison in the middle of San Francisco Bay, where they had to transport everything onto the island, including fresh water. Therefore, the prison was deemed to be too expensive to operate, and subsequently the prison was closed in 1963. Before you enter the dining hall, they have plexiglass where you can see behind the walls where Morris and the Anglin brothers climbed up out of the prison to escape. The tour concludes in the dining hall, where you can also get a glimpse of the kitchen. The interesting thing here is the storage for the kitchen knives, where they used cutouts to store the knives so the guards could quickly see if any of the knives were missing when the prisoners were finished up for the day. So if you can think back to the start of the video of the map of the island where they said they had some great views, you can come out here on the West Road where you are treated to fantastic views of pretty much the entire Bay Area. These birds here are Brandt's cormorants. If you're enjoying this video, I'd appreciate it so much if you'd please give me a like. And if you're new to the channel, please know that this channel is waterfowl approved. And so I'd appreciate it so much if you'd please consider subscribing if you want to see more of these videos. Thanks so much, and let's continue with the video. The island is now part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, which also includes quite a few areas around the Bay Area, including Muir Woods and the Presidio, which also was featured in a movie called The Presidio that starred Sean Connery as well. Contrary to popular belief, it is possible to swim to the mainland from the island, and there's actually an annual swimming event where swimmers will complete the entire swim from the island to the shore. Now, however, it is commonly still held that there was never a successful escape from the prison. John Paul Scott actually successfully made the swim all the way to shore. However, he immediately collapsed from exhaustion and was recaptured. As for Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, nobody really knows. They are still presumed to be drowned. However, there's been some anecdotal reports which suggest at least one of them possibly could have survived, but no one really knows to this day. The way the tour works is they drop you off at the island and you're free to roam around and you can stay there. I don't know about all day because I believe there are some special evening tours you can do. However, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend you take a night tour because I'm not sure that you could get a great view of the bay at nighttime in my opinion. It also would be pretty cold too. So I would definitely go as early as you can because Alcatraz is the most popular tourist attraction in all of San Francisco. Almost 2 million people a year come here. I went on the very first ferry over and it was still crowded. So you need to be prepared for crowds here. Nevertheless, I definitely recommend Alcatraz just because of what a famous location it is. Yes, the prison is somewhat smaller than you think, and you can get through the self-guided tour in an hour easily, maybe even in 30 minutes. But I do recommend it definitely if you visit the city of San Francisco, or if you're a huge fan of any of the movies that featured the island. I'd also add, you definitely want to, at the very least, watch any of your favorite Alcatraz movies before visiting, and you may even want to go so far as to save some screenshots so you can find the same locations during your tour. And now we're going to head back to the mainland, and I will see you guys in the next video because next week we're going to visit San Francisco. I appreciate you so much for watching. Thanks and take care. Bye.